We're back in business. We actually recorded a video that showed us putting this bike back together and getting it on the road, and it was going to come out before those thieving tow rags took my bike, so that kind of took precedence. But now that video looks a little bit odd because we've got the Super Meteor in it. So the Super Meteor, I don't have it back. This was recorded before it was stolen. This is now on the road, and this video is going to explain how it happened. So it wasn't on runner when I got it. It's not now. This bike is possibly the most important vehicle that I've ever had possession of, and that's because, if I'm honest, if it wasn't for this bike, I would have had to have a serious conversation with myself as to whether I was going to continue biking.
It knocked you, didn't it?
Because it just feels quite difficult if you get a run of bad luck with biking. High insurance costs, a theft of the bike, the cost of the training and everything else, and to have it took off you, it's you got to pick yourself back up. But there was the practical side of it, in that I would have had to buy another bike. And if I'm honest, I'm a little bit cautious about spending more money on a bike with the situation as it is. So having this bike has actually got me to continue the journey. This is such an important bike for me.
Things happen for a reason.
Yeah, they do. So anyway, let's get into the original video. Remember, I do not have the Super Meteor, and this is the story of how this got back on the road after 6 years in a garage. Welcome back to the channel. So we've got an update on the Kawasaki. So the Kawasaki video, if you're not sure what we're talking about, so a very, very kind subscriber actually gave us a bike. Now this bike had been in the garage and not run for 6 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
Not even turned over. And he saw that I was getting into biking, and he said, if you'd like this bike, then if you pick it up and take it back, you can have it. He says, I do not know what it needs or if it even runs. We picked it up from Simon's house and we brought it back. Now the bike didn't start. We had major uproar in the comments about this bike.
Yep.
A lot of people saying this, that and the other, and that it wasn't turned over enough, and it was this problem, it was that problem. So I made the decision to, rather than do weekly updates on it, we'd find out actually what was wrong with it and get it running again before releasing the video, because I think it was just getting a little bit crazy in the comment section. But it didn't start. So what happened was, we took the fuel pump out, stripped it down. The battery went on charge just to give it an extra boost. Yeah.
First things first, we need to take the actual pump body off the bottom of this. Looking at these screws have seen better days, so we're going to have to be very careful. Yeah. Now, moment of truth, will it come away? Oh, it will. Oh, very, very, very crusty.
There was so much gunk from the fuel tank. Okay.
That was the problem, was it?
Well, we thought that was the problem, and I wondered why you get so much like gunk, and it was rust basically. Whoa, it's like a coffee machine.
Yeah, that's not really what we wanted to see.
When we tried to start it, you could hear the fuel pump turning. It's like a high-pitched whir. Now, some people said that you couldn't hear it on the video. The reason for that is, if we just did the normal audio that you could hear now, it picks up absolutely everything. So we have a filter in the editing software, and it filters out some of the unwanted noises. And that depends on certain frequencies. It just so happens that the fuel pump sits on this frequency that gets blocked out. So you were right in saying you couldn't hear the fuel pump on the video, but on the raw footage you could hear it. I went back and checked it. So the fuel pump was working. It got cleaned up. So how Lewis did it is, he got some petrol and he cleaned it in petrol.
Grab an half decent brush, get some fuel in that.
Is that like a metal brush then?
No, this is just an ordinary standard paintbrush.
Huh. You can only clean it up, I think, as well as you can when it's old. You know, you can't get everything out.
It's drizzling outside, it's horrible.
So this is charged now, this battery?
Yep, this actually spent about 3 hours on charge the other day.
Okay.
So it's all ready to rock and roll. What we'll do is we'll place the tank on top, plumb it in, wire the battery in, and see if she'll go. Grab a bit of fuel. Stick that in the tank.
Moment of truth is this?
It will be. So, turned everything on, it's done its cycle. What we'll do is we'll turn it on and off a few times just to run that fuel through the system and make sure everything is where it needs to be.
So is that the fuel pump, that noise? Or?
I can't actually hear the fuel pump this time. It's trying. This might need a new fuel pump.
You couldn't hear it then. You know, it wasn't there. So, at that point, the fuel pump had to come back out and Lewis did a bench test.
Dead.
It looks like what's happened is that when it's been taken out and cleaned, it's the last breath of that fuel pump. It were on its way out, it's been corroded, and it just didn't want to do it. So we had to order a part. Now, unfortunately, you couldn't get hold of that part straight away. As I said, we were going to put original Kawasaki parts on there.
Yep. Yeah.
Because we couldn't get the Kawasaki part, I asked them to get an aftermarket part, but you also couldn't get one of those. So we just waited for the original Kawasaki part.
Okay, so it's got a Kawasaki part in it then?
It has, yeah.
Okay.
And don't we know it, because the price were quite a lot of money.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. But it's not as much as a Kawasaki Versys.
No, you know, so the right thing.
We knew that there were going to be some money to be spent on it. Here we go. Let the good times roll. Kawasaki part.
All genuine.
Yeah.
Bona fide. So, just to make sure, bring it over, plug her in, and she spins.
You can hear that, can't you?
Yep.
If that goes in, it's going to supply fuel and hopefully it starts, and if it doesn't, then it's something else.
Yep.
Basically,
That's
right.
pretty much it. That's it. And we're on.
It's on?
Yep. I'll just go and open the door and wheel it back to the door.
So can it be smoky then when you first start them up?
They are if they've been stored, because what can happen is you can get oil weeping past some of the seals in the head, or old fill that's been sat in the piston, on the top of the pistons in the cylinders.
Right, so it burns that off.
Yeah. Right then.
Moment of truth, eh?
Fuel pump's running. Turn it on and off a few times just to prime the system through, make sure there's actually fuel in there. And then we'll give it a blast on the button. Come on.
Ooh. It
Yeah.
sounded like it were going to go,
Right.
but it didn't.
Oh no!
She's trying.
But a couple more times and she fired up. Hey! Brilliant! And you've never seen as much smoke come out of a bike. So I wondered what that was, but Lewis said it's all condensation out the exhaust system, so it's all got to burn off. So basically it's just like,
So that's normal.
it's a lot of steam, yeah.
Yeah.
But then I saw that it started smoking from the front part as well, which got me worried. So I wondered if there were like a hole in the exhaust system.
Okay.
But Lewis said that it's usually silicone spray, because it had been valeted. Then
Okay.
they put silicone spray on things to make him shine, or
Okay.
I don't know what
So
it
he
does.
wasn't
I think
worried
so.
about that then?
No. So we left it, and he wanted to let it run to see if there were any leaks from the bike. Everything calmed down. The smoke went, and it seemed to tick over really well. It sounds amazing, actually.
Does
the bike.
it?
It does. It sounds totally different to this one. When we first go on throttle. Woo-hoo-hoo. So we've got it started.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. Now, what's happening now is that the guys down at Via Moto are putting the bike back together. I'm not going to film all that because we've seen it be stripped down.
Will it be a bit boring?
I think so, yeah. That's happening. We're going to put some new tyres on it. There were a lot of talk in the comments about tyres and that there's other videos that prove that you can run old tyres and everything else. So I respect what you're telling me, but for me, I'm going to change the tyres. So we're going to get like-for-like tyres on. I just want some new ones on there. So that's going to get put on. We're going to change the oil and all the oils in the bike, and then we're going to take it for an MOT, and then I finally get to ride it. So that's what we're waiting for. So the next video that you'll see of the Kawasaki is where it's all put back together, and I'm taking it out.
Are you going to be on it?
I'm going to take it for its first ride.
Wow.
And we'll probably do some videos where we can compare the difference between this Royal Enfield and a Kawasaki. A lot of people are telling me, actually, that I'll prefer riding the Versys. And it's got more power than what this has. This is still a dream. I absolutely love this bike. I love it, and I'll talk more in detail about it in another video. But it'll be interesting to see between the two. All right, well, thanks for watching. Looking forward to getting on the Versys. If you've got a Versys, is there anything that I need to look out for in riding it? Has it got any little quirks that I need to know about? So what's coming up on the channel is that I'll be talking about the Royal Enfield and how this shiny beast has fared with all the salt that's been put down over winter, and we've also got Claire's journey to continue, and also the riding of the Kawasaki. We've got so much to do, Claire.
I know, it's really exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the weather's getting better too.
That's it. So if all this is quite exciting and too stressful for you, have a look at his other channel, St. Christopher of Atlantis, where we go touring around in our motorhome in a more sedate way. But thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.